I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. When you go to church. When you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The American people are living in a matrix. They don't understand the truth of how things are working in this country, you know? And let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? So I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller. He's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event. And out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction, okay? So that was the next lie. Now they're talking about going into Iran. Now, how would you feel if you were Iran and you had this big, powerful country, America, go into your next door neighbor, take over their oil fields, right? Wouldn't you be worried that what they were going to do to you? Of course you're going to be worried. But the people of America don't think about it from Iran's point of view. They think about it from our point of view. So now we're going to send more troops into Iraq and keep building up because they want Iraq and the Middle East to become part of the New World Order. And the next lie was going into Iraq, you know, to get Saddam Hussein out with his weapons of mass destruction. That was the next lie.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's no question. And I remember he was telling me how how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and all these places, and there's gonna be this war on terror, of which there's no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax. And it doesn't matter Republican and Democrat anymore, because they're both the same. This world, we're heading into a world of danger, possible nuclear wars, you know, because the banking industry is trying to take over the world, you know. And I used to say to him, what's the point of all this? You have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What's the point? You know, what's the end goal? And he said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society. You know, I believe God put me on this earth to be the best person I could be, and put everybody on this earth to be the best they could be, not to be a slave and a sheep to you and these people. And I don't understand why you want to control everything. What is the need for that, you know? It's just one thing leading to the other. And it's always a point of taking over more countries, more dominance, you know, making sure the American dollar, making sure the G8 stays in control of everything. And what they want to do is to control the American people, control the people of the world, put RFID chips in everybody, so everybody's a slave to these central banks. Then you create the war on terrorism, which is the next lie. Then you create the war in Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, which is the next lie. And it's one lie to the next lie to the next lie. Now it's going to be Iran.
Let's admit it. Let's stop debating the two puppets they put out in front of us. The liberal puppet, the conservative puppet. And then every time we wake up to one of the puppets, they just replace it with another puppet. Let's look past the puppets to the puppet master above them that's controlling the puppets. That's all Aaron Russo and myself and Ron Paul and so many other people are saying. Let's get back to a culture of liberty versus tyranny, not this left-right diversion. You know, when folks are sick of Obama in 4 to 8 years, they're going to put a Republican in, and they'll put out different rhetoric, but carry out the same operation. They own both parties, but they get you in a rah-rah, Coke versus Pepsi, Redskins versus Cowboys, fight, and you get in this little political fight as followers instead of looking past that to the actual global elite and what they're setting up.
Look, we're dealing with complete evil. We're dealing with complete evil. And until the American people wake up and say, we don't want this evil in our country anymore, and we want to come back to a country of decency and goodness and integrity and honor, we're going down that road. They have all the money they want. They can make all the money they want. They have a machine that can make all the money. It's not about money. It's about control. It's about their vision of how they want to see the world.
What the hell's wrong with this elite? I mean, what are they running around doing evil? I mean, they just run around continually doing evil.
So in reality, Roger, you were chosen by high-powered demon spirits to be a part of their human, special, privileged group.
Thousands of spirit worshippers, in different societies of spirit worshippers in this world. But he says, we are the elite. The time had arrived for us to start trusting the spirits and give the spirits a chance to work for us.
What the hell's wrong with this elite? I mean, what are they running around doing evil? I mean, they just run around continually doing evil.
The satanic cult movement dovetails and is tied into the Illuminati, that is tied into the U.S. intelligence community, that is tied into the illegal drug activity in this country, that is tied into the MK Ultra mind control program, which is a CIA program.
Our policy of never-ending war, regime change, and nation building is being replaced.
They should make the masses the most lavish of promises. He observed, quote, the opposite of what has been promised can always be done afterwards. That is of no consequence, end quote. He reasoned that by using such words as freedom and liberty, the masses could be stirred up to such a pitch of patriotic fervor that they could be made to fight even against the laws of God and nature. He added, quote, and for this reason, after we obtain control of the very name of God, we will be erased from the lexicon of life.
Satan and all his spirit counselors held a great general council with one purpose in mind. It was to prepare for the great industrial age that was soon to break upon the world. And Lucifer also foresaw another age that was to follow that, where tremendous scientific discoveries would be made by people, and we would enter a unique age that would change the way that everybody lives. It would also serve to usher in the end times and the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil.
I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war.
You're getting bombing of Iran, you're getting bombing of Yemen, you're getting bombing of Venezuela, a regime change war in Venezuela. They're still funding the Ukraine war. Instead of cutting the deficit, they're exploding the deficit. Instead of cutting the money being spent on the Pentagon, they're exploding the money on the war machine. Instead of making healthcare more affordable, they're cutting healthcare. Instead of making sure we have America first for jobs, they're importing HB1 visas to take your jobs.
We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
But if he can pull this off, we're looking at a new world order. Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy theory that has started coming true. I mean, we saw this announcement in September. It took everybody by surprise. The World Economic Forum had been pushing digital IDs, the United Nations, the European Union, Britain. Of course, the really terrifying example is China, which uses digital IDs and a social credit score to control speech and to control what people think and say online.
I wish to thank the sponsors for inviting me. I don't often get invited. This was an important debate. I had planned another closing message, but I feel compelled to say what I'm about to say. Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government. The combining of national governments started with the European Union. That union started with trade agreements, then a common currency, the euro, and now a European Parliament that is feverishly passing laws that override the laws of the member nations. A constitution was drafted but rejected by a few of those nations. But never mind. They implemented it anyway. Now it's North America's turn. Building on the North American Free Trade Agreement, the NAFTA section of the Commerce Department is busy drafting laws and regulations for a North American Union, a union of Canada, America, and Mexico. The President has attended secret meetings and signed at least 2 agreements under the Security and Prosperity Partnership Program. Information leaked out about the meetings, and now it is all in the open. No treaty has been signed, so Congress has not become involved. However, money from our Treasury is now being spent for this effort. We will have a new currency, the Amero, and a new constitution, modeled on the Soviet Union's constitution. Our rights will not be inalienable, but they will be granted by government, who can also take them away. One sign that this is our future is the plans for the superhighways from southern Mexico through America and into Canada. These plans are not secret any longer. Huge amounts of property will be taken in the name of free trade, peace, and security. You will have a national ID card with a radio frequency chip in it. That's already law in America and will be implemented by May 2000. This man voted for it. You will not be able to move about freely. This is terrorism of the most worst kind, brought on you by our own government. The strongest, freest nation in the history of mankind will be averaged into world communism. Is that what you want? Are we the people still in control of this nation? We must begin to act like we are.
Stan Jones. On that, Conrad Burns, 3 minutes.
Sure glad you got such a rosy outlook on our future for our kids.
Do you see any of the little alerts about the new iPhone update? Guess what? It's going to let you add your passport to your Apple Wallet. It creates something called a digital ID that you can use whenever you need to show ID, including at the airport, to get on domestic flights, for a lot of things. And it sounds super nifty and so convenient. Everything in one place. Well, if you think that, you must have more trust in big tech safeguarding your privacy than I do. But at least here in the United States, this idea of a digital ID is optional, at least for now. But in the UK, it looks like the digital ID will soon be mandatory, at least if you want to work.
This government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's not simple. And you notice it's at the Global Progress meeting. Well, it's not simple, and it's being pushed by people in high places and with big tech connections, like former PM Tony Blair.
I'm going to pause for a moment, guys, if that's all right, because we've got some other breaking news tonight, and this is from Westminster involving the UK government and their plans for digital ID cards. John Craig, our chief political correspondent, is with us. John, I remember not that long ago, sat on this very chair announcing that the government are going to bring in digital ID cards, mandatory for all workers. Has this now been ditched?
Looks like it. It was September. The Prime Minister made a big speech at a conference of progressives, and where he talked tough in that speech. There, he said that you will not be able to work in the UK if you don't have a digital ID. It's as simple as that. The scheme would make it tougher to work illegally in this country, making our borders more secure. We've always been clear. Details on the digital ID scheme will be set out following a full public consultation, which will be launched shortly. Well, not sure the Prime Minister was talking about that last September. And then the government still says digital ID will make everyday lives easier for people, ensuring public services are more personal.
The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform.
A unified data platform. Well, what could possibly go wrong with that?
It's quite terrifying, and when you just listen to what the advocates for digital IDs say, it's terrifying. And, Laura, one thing I learned from this last round of investigations is that this is a huge cybersecurity threat. The idea that, imagine if you get hacked in one of the many websites that you log into. Imagine everything suddenly being hacked because it's all centralized in a single place. That cybersecurity threat alone ought to be enough to kill the digital ID. But again, this is potentially digital totalitarianism.
Well, remember China hacked into, I think it was Office of Personnel Management, and got untold numbers of government workers' records, their home addresses, phone numbers, Social Security. I mean, that's the U.S. government. Like, we're supposed to be the most secure system around. So that's an issue. But, the argument also... Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to say hacks happen all the time. I mean, there's huge hacks. Governments get hacked.
At the World Economic Forum back in January, push for this. I think we have the soundbite.
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. Citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity. We must push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet.
It looks like the U.S. military has rolled out a secret sonic type of a weapon that was used in Venezuela, as we're getting word from soldiers that were on the ground that they had witnessed people around them and even themselves experiencing bleeding of the nose, vomiting blood, and it was as if some of the individuals were exploding on the inside of their head, inside of their bodies, and it's some kind of unknown sonic type of weapon that they believe has been used here. And this has them scared big time, because they say there's weaponry and there's moves, there's tactics that was used by the American soldiers that they've never seen before. And that this is why they were able to come in with a small unit of like 20 guys initially. They came in, they had a lot of support on the outside, but 20 guys came in tactically, guns a-blazing, after they shut the lights out on them, and they hit them with this sonic type of weapon, this mystery weapon. Again, it dropped everybody to their knees. Anybody that did not drop got smoked, got hit by bullets, and taken out rather quickly. Soon after, they say dozens of drones and a small number of helicopters appeared. So whatever they released in the atmosphere, it came either from a weapon that exploded in the sky or a ship or something they had on the ground pointed in that area, potentially even off of a drone. At this point, we did see a stealth drone in action. It was caught on the horizon, had no lights, but you could see it was U.S. military stealth drone assets in the area. those things can be equipped with all kinds of weaponry. So where it came from exactly, we don't know. We'll probably never know for sure. But they've got the weapon, this mystery weapon that can leave these guys incapacitated and bleeding from every orifice in their body, it seems like. And they can't explain what it is besides saying it's some type of mystery sonic weapon. So if they deploy this elsewhere, it'd be interesting to see what goes down and if we can get a bead on how they're deploying the thing. But Iran, Cuba, Mexico, all these places catching threats from Trump. Who's going to get it next? Only time will tell. I'll leave a link. Join me for the live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Dabu 77, talking about this and a lot more. Hope to see you there.